All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We got another amazing episode. I think all of our episodes are amazing because they're so unique, and there's an amazing story that everyone shares about their journey, and everyone's on the journey. And I have Maribeth Challenger here. I did it again. Yeah, I'm so bad with names, but we're getting better, right? I am here with Maribeth Challenger, who is a holistic chef, but more importantly, on her own journey. Yeah. And we were just kind of briefly talking about, like, by no means out of, like, the trenches and, like, I'm here, I'm healed. And I don't think any of us are. Like, I'm definitely not. I mean, where I was, sure, 10 years ago and now is night and day. But we're all on this journey. You're here to share your story because it is going to inspire and help someone. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So just start like what were some of the most challenging times that you have gone through already?
I don't know if I can weigh it that way. I feel like different times are challenging for different reasons. And I don't know. Like, for me, my story, like, where does it start? Does it start with the leap of faith? I mean, I took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
And then, I don't know, I guess maybe what was challenging or not can kind of come up. But I just feel like everything's challenging in its own way, and it's really just what you do with that.
Right.
So, for me, I was in sales for a long time. Mm-hmm. I did some advertising. I sold cars for a little minute. I didn't really like doing that, but I did it. And I sold insurance to companies, and I sold life insurance, small policies, not big policies. And I liked a lot of what I was doing, but much of it, big parts of it, were not at all aligned with what I am. And the parts that I liked were not enough to make it work. So, like, it got to the point, and of course there's traumas and there's things that precipitate a big change, right? You don't just be like, oh, I'm doing this today. But if we're going to start there.
Mm-hmm. The leap of faith.
The leap of faith, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to anyone, and it might not even make sense to you. That's how it is.
Oh, I love it. The build up. Wow, that's good.
I mean,
okay.
So I was selling insurance for a really great company. I really loved it. I loved the people that I was working with. I felt I had purpose in what I was doing. I didn't want to just sell policies. As a producer, I wanted to work with people that this is going to make a difference for you. And so in that context, it was triggering and igniting the healer part of me, the part of me that wants to be of service. Mm-hmm. But I was newly divorced. I was getting diagnosed with autoimmune disorders that were painful, mm-hmm. right? And they're all kind of rooted in things that point to the fact that you're working way too hard. You're taking it all on yourself. Your body is shutting down, and this is not working. And I was putting like 800 miles a week on my car, which I kind of liked the solitude of being in, like, give me a traffic jam. Everybody's so mad that I'm just like, oh, God, I can relax. I can't control this. This is so good. Right. So I can just enjoy my music.
But that wasn't probably counting the other 40, 50 hours you were putting in, right?
Right. Well, yeah. So, but I was getting by, but I was not on the inside at all. And it was like everything kind of like came to the point where I just kind of pulled to the side of the road. And I'm like, I have choices. And what if I made like the boldest of all of the bold? What if I just stopped doing this right now? Because I've been diagnosed with anxiety. I have all of these physical things going on in my body. I don't know what's going on. I'm well known, like ADHD, 3 diagnoses before they knew what to call it. Let me tell you, right?
Starting when? In childhood?
I'm 51,
Yeah.
so, 5 years old, right? So it's been a minute. I could probably get disability. So that was the worst that I thought of at that moment was there's going to be a lapse between like losing this income, but I could probably be okay. But what if I didn't? What would be worse than that? And I kind of went down this journey of, well, what would happen if it got worse than that?
Sitting on the side of the road, you were
I swear to
contemplating
God.
all this? Oh, I
What
like
would
it.
happen if it got worse than that thing that I just imagined to happen? I'm on disability now, and
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to declare that for my life. What's worse than that? Well, this could happen.
Yeah,
well,
you played it all out in your
right
head.
now. Am I okay? Let me sit there. What's worse than that?
And you were still like, I'll be okay, I'll be okay.
For maybe 1 to 2 hours. I don't know.
1
how
to
long
2
I sat
hours.
there. A long
Okay,
time.
that's a long time.
I literally sat there and was just like, okay, I am evaluating this. And I did not know what to do, but I thought, you know what? I am like literally sitting here. I am nowhere near my house. I mean, it was 1099, so I'm technically, like, nobody's saying you have to be at work right now, right? So I'm like, I'm going to just go home. And I went home, and I sat on it for a minute.
At home. So 1 to 2 hours on the side of the road. By the way, did you cry a lot?
Oh, there's tears.
Yeah. Yeah, there has
But I
to.
don't know if the tears are, like, overflowing in that moment. Honestly, I don't remember. But I don't feel like that is, it's more... I don't know. It feels almost analytic, although you're tapping into something that is clearly not. I don't know how to explain
Yeah.
that, right? Because who am I talking
But
to?
it had to have been very emotional, like analytic, but at the same time, almost like, was it like releasing? You felt like you were releasing so much.
Well, I live in emotion. And I always have. And then everybody else kind of looks at my life and they're like, okay, she is living in emotion. But that is, I bring emotion in. I can feel all of this emotion. I can read a room. I know what's going on. And then I just kind of like feel like, where is this in my body? I know how to move through emotion. And yeah, sometimes it's hard crying, but I would not say that like hard crying is always sad crying. Sometimes it's angry crying. Sometimes it's happy crying.
Sure.
And happy crying can happen during something that you're thinking about just as much as something that you're reminiscing that hurts. So it's all in there though. But I just was like, I know I have worked hard. I am tired and I am going home. And I did. And then listen, that was 2023. My ex left in 2022.
Okay.
So it took me about a year to break. No, I don't know. I think heal maybe, but then you have all the repercussions of that healing. So now I'm home. I called Social Security. I said I'd like to file a claim. I applied for benefits. I started painting. I've always cooked. And I've always painted, right? But it was, I'm painting, I'm cooking again. I kind of got out of that for a while, but I'm just creating in all these different ways, and I'm praying, and I don't even know what I'm praying to. I'm just praying, right? I'm just praying.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, and it just kind of evolved, and then I just ended up in school. But when I found the school, it was like almost shown to me. I don't know how to explain that.
What is that? How did that happen?
So I knew, I applied for a disability, and then very quickly I was like, you know what? I know I could get that. I know there's other people in my mindset, in my anxiety, that could get that. They can, and I can. But do I want to declare that yet? It's in my pocket. It could be there. But I don't. And I ended up from that moment not following through with the disability claim because I was like, I'm not going there yet. So what do I want to do? I am a creative person first and foremost. I am an artist. If it's food, it's food. If it's art, it's art. Mm-hmm. If it's refinishing up furniture, it is. Or
it's all the same to
whatever
you. Love
it is.
doing it all.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
So I'm creative. I'm a healer. I've always known that, and not even if I know it, but if you look at my history, it's always like, how can I be of service? Even within a sales position, it was like, I could sell anything. Why am I going to try and sell something that somebody can't use? I'm going to find the most useful thing that I can do and provide that. That's what I could do. So that's just how it is for me. So I'm like, okay, so I have these things. And so I started thinking, I'm going to go to school. I'm 49 years old.
Yeah. Not too late.
No.
It's never too late.
No. But I didn't finish school, and I'm like, and I wasn't great at school.
So you went to college and never finished?
My daughter got very sick when she was a little baby, and I left, and that's not an excuse, but it is the event that precipitated me leaving, and then from that point, I never went back because I was so busy putting food on the table, doing what I thought I needed to do to tell,
Yeah. How's your daughter now?
She's wonderful.
Okay,
She's
great. So everything comes around full circle.
Yes.
So then you go back to school.
Yes. So, right. So just going back to school in and of itself was something that I never thought that would be a thing. Like, I was not school. I graduated high school in 3 years because I was so done with being bullied in school and being beat down in school that I was like, I'm going to summer school. I'm skipping lunch, taking a class.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of here.
You didn't even want to do senior year, huh?
I didn't do junior year.
Well, one of the years you said, I need to skip 1 year for sure.
I did.
All this bullying.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So, but that was that. So, but I didn't do it in flying colors. I barely scraped by, but I got out.
You got out.
I got out. So now I'm like, I'm going to go to school. And I don't know. Listen, I had a dream that I moved to Austin. And I woke up and I laughed and I'm like, I am not moving to Austin. No. But, I'm up. So I make
Have you been to Austin before?
No.
How did you know it was Austin?
I don't know. But here's the thing. I made myself a little cup of coffee. And I turn on Facebook and there's the advertisement right there in front of me for Auguste Escoffier Culinary School based in Austin.
Wow.
I'm just saying, I called them. The first thing I saw.
Yeah.
And I called them up.
What was your initial thought?
Amazing. This looks
pure
like
sign, like it's, this is a sign.
And then I'm looking and I'm like, oh, holistic nutrition and wellness. This is culinary based. This is creative. This is healing. This talks about wellness and modalities. This talks about nutrition. This talks about nutrition counseling.
Everything you want to do.
But it's not just that, because I'm not a clinician. I was thinking, am I going to go into alternative medicine? But I'm not that scientist. I don't know if I would ever make it, but I'm an artist.
And you're a healer, so there's other ways.
And you've got nutrition dietitians here, and you've got doctors here, and they're talking to each other. But how about someone who's creative that can kind of come in and put on a plate, a beautiful plate of something that meets what you want, is translated through this guy. Here's the art. And that's me. And that's what I found through this journey, that I didn't even realize the extent of what that was, even I think until it's evolved since I'm in my last class. So,
how is it? How is it
done? I'm not done. Like, I'm in.
How has it evolved?
What do you mean?
Well, so when you first went to the school to now, what does that look like? What's the evolution been?
Honestly, every single thing that I thought I had, that I thought I was, every relationship, every material thing, like when you talk, like in the Bible, like they go in the desert and that was what happened to me. Like, I lost, no money, no car, no nothing. Everything materially that you think you need, I did not have, and I have not had for years. And I'm great.
So you don't have a car?
No.
How'd you get here?
I got a ride.
That's amazing. That's good.
I got a bicycle. I went on Facebook, so I was not healthy. I lost 80 pounds. I went on
When you
Facebook.
started the school?
Not since I started school. So since maybe shortly before my divorce, I think from the time that I realized that divorce was going to happen, but I wasn't at the point yet that I was going to take that step, right? But other things were healing in me and breaking in me at the same time, if that makes sense. It's with the autoimmune, right? So this is my body's signal. Hello,
That something is wrong, and
something's going on.
and that something was the relationship, right?
Well, no, it can't say that it's the relationship. It was relationships.
Relationships, okay.
So
and
yeah,
and probably the most important relationship with yourself was off.
100%. And I think that when, like, for me, I am not your average kind of girl. I'm not.
Okay.
I am
What does that mean?
Just imagine that, and probably you're right. I'm just saying, I am a different kind of, and it took me a long time to realize that I'm just not. And the reason that it's hard is because sometimes you just get messages from society.
Oh, yeah.
That you're not the same. And even if I look the same, I can smile pretty. It does not matter. It does not take long before you realize in whatever relationship that I'm not always like you. And a lot of times it's off-putting because my energy is big. And so if I'm big and I'm different, then I am like, whew. I mean, that's just the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think that when everything was kind of stripped away, what I realized is that on the surface, everything looks like a thing. But when it is all stripped away, then you are only stuck with what drove it away. The self-blame, the questioning is the first step, right? What did I do? Who am I? Why do they not accept me? Why am I not quiet enough? Why am I not small enough? Why am I so brash, if you want to call me that? Why am I mean? Sometimes I'm mean. Why am I these things? And then you get to a point where you kind of look and you're pointing fingers. Well, it's because of this reason and that person. And so it's not the marriage. That is one symptom of all of it. And then after that, then you're like, okay, so I'm not the greatest person on the entire earth. Like, I'm not the sweetest, kindest, although I am sweet and kind when I am. It's an authentic expression of me, but I'm both sides of the paper. Mm-hmm. It's the same paper, and then you have to put yourself in that, and then you have to look at that side. And what does that mean? How does that show up? Why is this okay here but not here? Mm-hmm. And it's just an unraveling. And for me, it took, what year are we? 25? This is 2 years.
2 years of unraveling.
Of conscious unraveling.
Conscious unraveling of unconscious stuff that was going on before.
Yeah. That's it.
So you just shifted your awareness.
Yes, I did.
And that started this beautiful journey.
I hope it is. I feel it is. And, I know that on the outside, it still does not look like what I feel it is. Like if you were so
But how does it feel?
At me, you'd be like, that.
Right. Yeah. You don't have a car. What do you do? Yeah. But on the inside, how does it feel? Like, are you more present now? Are you more grateful now? Are you less stressed now?
I think that I was always connected, and I think that one of the things that makes me different is that I've always been very connected.
Connected to the one.
And down into the earth and back up for me. And even when I was not consciously connected, and I look back at what I was doing, I was connected, right? I think
in the background, you knew you were always connected.
I didn't know I was connected, but I was. I was getting information, as we are all humans. And
but aren't we all connected? We're all connected. We're all connected.
We are all disconnected, too.
But we're also disconnected, right.
So, the problem is that nobody believes they're connected. And so when you, I have to have belief in this for it to be true. You do because, if you don't, know that you're connected, even if you're getting the signals, you're not interpreting them as signals. You're going to write it off as this or write it off as that. But the truth is we're getting information at all ways, all times.
Yeah.
So was it a dream here? Was that a message? Of course it was a message.
Yeah.
But that's not crazy that happened. I don't mean crazy in like the crazy. I mean, it's not like amazing, I guess is my word. That's not amazing. That's what we all
It's
are
all
getting.
around. It's all around us.
But who says, I'm going to recognize and call it that? And I'm going to...
Oh, yeah, but we call it a coincidence. And as soon as we
sure.
call it a coincidence, we block that signal and more of that happening. As opposed, as if we step into it, then everything starts opening up more and more. I had a very similar, where I saw a sign and it made me sign up for a health coach, life coach certification online that I was looking at for a year and a half. I was actually driving to the casino and I was listening to a spiritual book and I all of a sudden got emotional. I'm not an emotional guy. And this truck drives by and it says spirit right on the side of it in big letters. And then I hear for myself to sign up for that certification. Yes. And these signs are everywhere. So I love that you do have to, what you said is like, you do have to believe, first of all, that these are signs from whatever you want to call your higher power, God, universe, source, energy, one. Like sure. You have to live in those thoughts yes. too.
And I really feel that, I think like spiritually, the big debate that I've seen, or one of them, is it an external force? Is it something that you're tapping into inside? And the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. The answer is yes. Because the way I think, and I don't even know who said this, but somebody did. I'm sorry if I don't know. I don't know. But the idea is that if you think about death, what dies? Everything dies that's physical. Everything that you think you're building is going to die. The only reason you need to build that is because your spirit is dwelling within your little meat suit, mm-hmm. and they are taking that with them. Mm-hmm. And the strength that it took to do whatever it is that you did, they're taking that back to what is already there. Like, you're there and you're here. Yeah. You're this thing expressing here, right? So am I my thoughts? If I have a thought, is that me? No, because your brain dies and thoughts come out of your brain. You're not that thought. So don't think that just because you think that you're right. Yeah. Because that's still flesh. That goes away.
Yeah, there's higher thoughts. There's divine thought. There's spirit thought.
And once you go down that rabbit hole, everything changes, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you don't look at like being in the shit, as we called it, as bad too, because it's for purpose. For sure. It's like you need to sit here to learn something, right. And you'll be out of it in no time. Because there technically is no time anyways.
If you are cutting vegetables, I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
So if you're cutting
By the way, I looked at your Instagram. The pictures on there are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to talk after because with our meal prep company, Zero Doubt Kitchen, some sort of collaboration.
That would be very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would like that. But let's say if you're cutting vegetables and you cut your finger, it hurts. Why does it hurt? Because your body is telling you there's something wrong. And it's not forever wrong. That's going to heal. Mm-hmm. You're going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. But you're still getting a boo-boo that says stop because you just cut your finger off. How about a claw grip? Right? Mm-hmm. that's the message there. Mm-hmm. Okay. So emotional pain, we don't want to do it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's telling you something.
Yeah.
It is.
And we say we don't want to do that or that's not me and this and that. That pain doesn't go away. It's there. It's going to come up at another time. But if all of a sudden you do it, what happens? It goes away. At least if it comes back. If it comes back, though, it's recognized. You've gone through it already.
You're prepared.
So it's easier.
But the lessons it gets easier. Like when I was in sales, this is how I would look at it. And I think a lot of sales trainers said this too. Does this job get easier? Right? We're talking sales pitch, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. No. But you get better. Your perspective changes, and you come up with more ways to think about a situation than what you had when you were just like learning what is this I'm supposed to say to begin with. That's different, right? Now, when you get better, then you have challenges that are harder, right? Nobody looks at somebody who's getting better in their job and says, we're going to just keep them right there.
Right.
Never.
That's a great point. Yeah, life is going to throw you life is going to throw you more challenges.
It's harder. Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like it's getting easier. I'm not trying to hurt, I'm not trying to scare you, but it doesn't because it's harder. But now I have more knowledge and more wisdom. What am I? I don't know. But the thing is because of the kind of wisdom I have, I can look at it different. And since I'm looking at it different, I can actually 100% say that hurts. Okay, and I can move through it. And I don't, you know, like the whole like, don't cry. That's bullshit.
Oh, yeah, no, you got to let it out. You got to let that poison out.
You got to move through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I made that deal with myself at like somewhere around 7, 8 years old. I would never cry.
It's very common.
Not good. It's not good. A lot of side effects from that.
I can't not cry. If I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. Oh, you don't like that? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
No, yeah. Now my tears are more for like gratitude and the good stuff.
Sometimes it's gratitude.
Yeah. And the good stuff. Or like when you see signs and then you like step into it and you signed up. I'm sure that was very emotional for you and stuff like that. Like so, but good.
Yeah, but that was just a very in the flow moment because I did not think it through. But I didn't think through throwing away my whole career. So why would that be hard?
Yeah, wait. I think it's good to lose your mind because, like you said, that's your physical thing. That's not even technically real. Who you are.
And you know the truth. Here's the truth.
Well, I want to hear the truth,
dude. Let me tell you. When you give it all up and there is on paper no way that you should be surviving, you survive.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
It does not matter if something has to come in that you did not expect. It is going to happen. And even if on the physical plane you go through something that is harder than you thought you could accept before, you're still breathing.
Yeah.
You still get through it. My son, he's 10. He says to me, because I was feeling really bad about something, kind of like, what am I putting on the table, right? Like you have doubt. It still happens all the time. You know, this is not working right now, one of those moments. And he looks at me and he comes into the kitchen. He goes, Mom, listen, I know sometimes you might feel like you're not doing that good of a job. He says this, but this is my son. I'm telling you, he's amazing. And he opens up the refrigerator. He goes, look at that. And he closes it, and he opens the meat drawer. He says, look at that. He closes it. He opens the freezer. He says, look at that.
Wow.
And I looked at him, and I started crying. He goes, now. He opens up the pantry. He says, get over here. Look at that. He says, so we're doing okay.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, what did I say? The mouths of babes. But this is what my son sees. I hope. But this is what he expresses. So... and that's the truth, because when you take that leap of faith that's scary, that you don't think you can get through it, it appears somehow. And it doesn't even matter if you know how that got there. It's there.
Yeah, it's there. You're saying when you take the leap of faith that what you need for your survival will show up.
As long as you believe that it will show up and not feel like you have to. I mean, if you get some sort of like feeling that you need to do this to make this show up, then you do what you do it. I'm not saying that you just sit back and okay, bless me.
No, you got to act. You have to act. You got to jump through the emotions and the fears, right?
You just.
What about the fears? Talk about the fears.
You just feel the fear. You just say
this
is fear.
You just feel it, yeah.
Look, I had anxiety before I left. Like, I'm going to say I just quit my life. I quit my life. Before I quit my life, I'm always high strung. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing. Like, it always felt like a bad thing before. Now, I don't care, because I'm telling you, it's going to help me, this energy.
Because now forward. you're an entrepreneur. You got to stay moving. You got to
100%. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going.
You know where you're going.
I know where I'm going.
And I think that's important.
I didn't know where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what steps are going to be, but I know that I'm going to end up right. I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up there.
Yeah, I love it.
And in the way, if I decide...
Doesn't vision create reality?
It does, but you can't... Listen, I don't... Bashar maybe says it like this. Like, here's the vision. This is what I want. I'm human. I have a brain. My brain is going to die. The only thing that my brain can do is create that vision, right? And then imagine what steps I would have to take to get there based on my knowledge and experience in life. But my knowledge and experience in life has really been one that everything is hard. So I have to accept the fact that what I think I need to do to get to that destination might be wrong. Because
and be okay with it.
Yeah, because I wasn't really... If I was taught the right way to get there, I'd be there. And I'm not there. And so if I'm going to be there, of course I have to imagine what will happen between now and then so that I can take those steps, right? Because if I'm not open to the process, then I'm not going to take them. But if the steps look different, if I thought it was going to be here to there and it ends up being here to there, I'm not going to say no to that. I'm still getting there. And that's how I see it. Like, and it's okay. So listen, one of the things that started happening, I have a family history of anxiety. Now, I have a family member who has such anxiety that they have gone to the hospital thinking they had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Okay. So right before I knew this is not working in my life, I started having physical symptoms where I'm having cold sweats. I feel like my heart is racing. I'm not feeling like I can't breathe, but I'm definitely having cold sweats, right? And so I started saying to myself, like take my pulse, like all the due diligence, but as I'm doing that, I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking to myself, you have a family history of this. You're getting diagnosed with all of these things. If this is a panic, a thought put you in the panic. And if a thought can put you in a panic, a thought will take you out of the panic. And if I tell myself this for just a few minutes, not enough that it's a long time, but if I just sit down and I say a little mantra a few times, if a thought will put you in a panic, a thought will take you out of the panic. I did this and it worked within minutes. And that's when I knew that I had the ability to talk myself out of what felt like impossible. And I don't take any anxiety medicine now. I don't take any medicine now. I do because I have some inflammation. I take some anti-inflammatory shit, but
yeah, this is more like a supplement, no?
No, I'm
something more prescribed, but still, that's good. I mean, you're not on the other stuff.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm just.
But you were before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now it's the holistic route. So where's this you're going picture look like? Like if you painted it so beautifully yourself one day, I'm sure you will.
I'm sure I will. Well, I can't really say what the end game is right now. I don't think that would be
right. But like, where's it?
But I do know, like, I do have an idea. Listen, I have an idea, and when I talk about this, the Escoffier Austin, this was on that realm. And I was not asleep, though, but I was cuddled in. Mm-hmm. And based on what I was experiencing, which was just after I enrolled in school, I had this idea, and I sat up, and I started writing down everything I could think of, and I pursued it for a minute, and then I've kind of like pulled back, but not that I'm like, it's just a really big idea. Mm-hmm. I pulled back because the truth is like, I'm here. You know, like earthwise, I'm not doing great by those standards, by material standards. Mm-hmm. Externally, if I'm an investor, I'm just being real, I'm not looking at me as a good.
Okay, that's fine. You pulled back for now. What is the idea?
I can't.
It's that big?
I put it out there. It's out there, but I don't want to say it right now.
No?
All I'm going to say is that I feel like everything that I've ever learned kind of culminates to here. And I'm on the path to get there, and the path is not there. And so at this point, I'm trying to like get there this way. I have been a homeschool mom for the past 2 years. My son was pulled out of school due to bullying, and it resonated very deeply with me. Mm-hmm. And I know how it goes. And we weren't going to do that today. Mm-hmm. So we said no. After much evidence that is there a team or is not a team? Can you hear me now without me saying what I'm saying? We either are working as a team or we're not working as a team. If we're not working as a team, bye-bye. That's how it was.
Got it.
So, because I had done all of this, I was not in a place of, like, my son's missing his friends. I can't really drive him to the things. It was just, I kind of looked back at what's available and what's not available as a homeschool mom. And I just realized that there is a really big gap in an industry that is growing. And I know how to fill it. And that's the end goal. And there is food component in it, but it is truly bigger than that. But there is a big portion of it when you look. It has to do with education. And when you look at everything that is kind of presented as our choices, nutrition, school lunches, it's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
But, that's not new, right? We've got, like the food is medicine and beautiful community gardens popping up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot there. But I have kind of an angle. I got an angle that's
Yeah,
just a
I think
different.
the angle going through the schools is the right play because it starts with the kids.
It's kind of not through the schools, though. I just kind of, I don't want to I kind of take notice, right? I see patterns. I see what the schools are doing. This is more in service to homeschoolers.
To homeschoolers.
Yeah.
So you're saying more kids will probably be homeschooled in the next decade?
I don't know. I'm not in by any means that business analysis. I see from what I understand but I'm a researcher, right? So I do read and dig and look. When COVID hit, so homeschooling has been around a long time. Even back when my daughters were little, our next door neighbor had textbooks delivered. This was it wasn't like they had the My Academy and Khan Academy and, all of these different ones that are out there. But they are out there now. But it's not cohesive. Sometimes there's too much information and it's so scattered that if you find yourself as a mom or a dad and you're in a situation where you're kind of looking at, what am I supposed to do now? It's mid-year. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my son. I don't really, I'm trying to help him, but it's not, it can be hard. I dug in, and what I found is that it's a very common feeling. And once COVID hit, a lot of parents were stuck with that. What am I supposed to do now? Is it just this online class? What is it that the schools have that I don't have access to? A lot. Since COVID, it's been growing exponentially. Some states more than others. It's between about 50 and 100% growth.
And then those states, they're getting all the stuff the schools are getting, or close to it.
They're not. Nobody is.
Nobody is, but they're getting more info.
They're getting different things, right? So I think one of the benefits is that you kind of get to decide we're going to use cooking as a class.
Right.
They're not going to get that in school. Or we're going to go down to the creek and we're going to read through these things, and then we're going to come back and talk about, what's that ecosystem look like if we're talking about ecosystems. They're not doing that kind of in the flow, so that's one benefit. But then the other benefit is that's maybe missing is if I want to do art, I don't have a big art room with all sorts of paint and, I don't have a gym. I don't have I don't have these things. And so it's just pieced.
It's almost like you just need to create a new school system.
And the big thing, as far as I look at, why did this idea come to me after culinary school? And I think the reason is that a big part of what I envision has to do with feeding our bodies to feed our minds. I think it's bullshit that ketchup is a vegetable in our school systems. I think that's bullshit. And yet, this is how we define food. and then we send them back and say, learn science, learn math,
Mm-hmm.
learn. That's not how it works. You gotta like. So I have an idea as part of. It's just like, I didn't think we were going to go down this road. I'm sorry. It feels very scattered, but
well, it's big ideas, you know.
It is, but a big portion of it has to do with how do we use food? How do we use farming? How do we use growing? And like, if we're going to teach our children about the life cycle of a plant, why are we not using this plant that has this fruit that we could put in the cafeteria and then,
connect the dots. Right now, everything is scattered.
Here's your recipes. Here you grew it. Here you're cooking it.
And you want to connect the dots.
I want to connect all of them.
All of them.
And maybe it took someone like me who like everybody's like, she is all over the flippin' place. This child will not sit in the chair. It wouldn't sit in the damn chair. She won't sit in the chair, but maybe I wasn't supposed to. Like, maybe I was supposed to see that and that and that. And to you, it feels like I'm like machine gun ricochet all over the place. But to me, it's more like a fractal, and I can see it.
Oh, I like it. Okay, we're going to have to talk after this podcast a lot more.
But that's how I see it.
Because we're trying to build something like that as well, right?
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, one thing that I've learned is every conversation leads to, this is a sales thing, right? Every conversation leads to a new idea, new conversation, new relationship. And this may be the relationship. It may not be the relationship. But if it's not, well, what did I learn from this talk that puts me over here, gets me here, or whatever? I love that.
For sure. 100%. Every meeting, every encounter, every relationship, every phone call. You're right.
Yeah.
We're all connected, right?
Yeah.
We're all connected.
Literally, we are the same.
We are
Here's the energy, and it's got these offshoots. And some of it is in you, and some of it is in me, and some of it is in that camera or that chair.
Yeah.
Some of it is in the trees. But it's like offshoots. This is my idea. This is all offshoots into everything. But just because my arm, if this is not me, if this is me, it doesn't mean that my arm's not me. My arm's way out here, but I'm still here. But that's what it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing is, like, we know there's like one energy that it all started from, but we lose ourselves in the 60, 70,000 thoughts we have a day that separates us and causes a lot of havoc and problems.
I've got to focus here and focus here and focus here, and you're not like me, and I'm going to judge you, and don't
bullying.
Judge me,
that's where all the bullying comes in.
This feels good, right? And I'm so focused on what I'm being told I need to do to breathe in and out every day and be successful. Be successful. Be successful.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying no.
Yeah.
And because the truth is this light that is literally in you, the more you're concentrating on this, the less you're listening to this. And I'm not saying this isn't important. Like, this is here. This is how we learn it. Mm-hmm. So it's not that it's meaningless, right? This is what it is.
It's part of it.
Well, it is. Like, I am a soul, and I want to learn something. But I want to learn lots of things. So I want to know what it's like to be you, and I want to know what it's like to be her. So if I decide I don't like you, and I'm mean to you, that's so stupid. It's like I'm slapping my own hand.
You're slapping your own hand. Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
It's all the same. Like,
it's all the same.
It is the same. We are the same person. We are the same person.
That's right.
We all are. That's my point.
For sure. I love it. I mean, I just recently so I do plant medicine ceremonies, and I just recently did one. And when you go in deep like that, you actually have that experience of being one.
Yeah.
So everything you're saying is for sure the facts, and we forget that. So I hope that this is a reminder for everyone that we're all the same with all the war and all the shit going on. Look, that's you out there too.
Right.
So.
And, maybe I'm full of shit because I haven't graduated. I am in my last class. But, does she have a degree? No, I don't.
You have a degree being a human and a soul. That's what you have a degree in.
I got something to say. This is what
we all do.
And this is what it is. Like, oh, is it scary? It's scary. I'm telling you, I'm in it. I'm doing it. I'm poor as I could ever imagine being poor. I am not poor in the least. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
So if you're
You're abundant.
going into it, I feel it. I feel that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. And so if this is what the scariest of it looks like, if I can do that, because nobody gave me credit for being able to do anything, I'm telling you the truth, then anybody can do it. And you don't have to be through it in order to find beauty in it. And that's where we're at today. I
love it. I love it. Maribeth Challenger, thank you so much for coming on. How can people find you?
So I don't know what I'm supposed to give.
Do you have your Instagram?
I have my Instagram. I think it's just
beautiful
at
picture.
Maribeth Challenger.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know if I get content. I don't know what to.
No, that's good, and I'm sure we'll have you on again with all these amazing ideas. Something's going to come up, so we'll check back in down the road and see what's going on. Right?
Nice. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.